You want to visit Terra?
Debatable. The only one to stand against Ursus. 𝗔𝗟𝗟 Flex slaying the ocean. Hell yeah. We love NTR. I need to become Uma Musume.
She's always
Been chilling. Ni hao. The fields are flat and fertile.
Take my advice. Kill yourself.
If it can bleed, it can die. Base plus minus. Loading xenophobia. That's why they were throwing pizza! Those were Italians! Not that they are not racist, they are less racist. Pasta la vista Litania.
Why are Gaulish people so gay?
Hey yo, pause! Why is Victoria thick? Pause. And there is no Queen of England. The factory must grow. Power scaling in Arknights like starts at world destruction. Absolute cinema. Oh no. Oh, I'm so cooked. Yo, what is going on everybody? My name's rarebear. Welcome to another Arknights reaction video. I know, I'm sorry, it's been a while. It's been like a week or two without Arknights content, but we are here, and as a sort of peace treaty offering and sorry, we are doing the plus minus video finally. So you want to visit Terra, Arknights ALL Nations Explained. The link to the original is obviously in the description. Go check it out yourself. Subscribe to plus minus. Leave a like on this video. Leave a like on my video. Hype it up. Subscribe for more Arknights. And this is gonna be a long one, so get some drinks, get some snacks. This video is like an hour and a half long, so with my yapping it's gonna be 3 hours. I'm warning you right now. I assume that timer under me is saying 3 hours. I'm gonna try not to post that much, but of course for reactions I have to, and I like to give my opinion and like ask questions and give you my thought process and stuff like that, of course. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. So you want to visit Terra, Arknights ALL Nations Explained Tour Guide Edition trademark. Also there are actual English subs, shadowed for the effort. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hey fellow netizens, Plus here. So,
hello.
You want to visit Terra, a world we have only experienced at the tip of our finger, a world where a kingdom of chivalry and knighthood could turn into a corporate dystopian, where god-conquering China and the demon-power-wielding Soviet Union don't quite get along.
Oh, Soviet Union has demon powers?
Sweets and guns, where their ancient brethren are the most discriminated against amongst all races. Terra is probably one of the most complex and realistic fictional worlds I've ever consumed.
That is honestly true, just from the videos I've seen.
It is because Arknights is not just a game, it is a glorified visual novel with absurdly high production costs, along with a ton of adjacent media to enrich its own characters and world building.
What is that
such as
animation?
The character theme, songs that only exist outside of the game, official posts. Some are more cryptic than others, but all of them share the same trait, that is the exploration of the world of Terra from a unique angle or different timeline. ARG, aka alternate reality game, is also an adjacent element that exists in Arknights media, which has hidden pieces of lore.
Arknights ARG. Oh no, wait, I think I knew about that, and now that I think about it, I think you mentioned it in the comments that there was an ARG. Oh my god.
Manga that covers small but important details can solidify the world building. The world of Arknights has been evolving ever since the game was released back in 2019. Countless main and side stories have been added throughout the years. More than 1.6 million words make up the total of the readable media.
Fucking how many? Oh my god. Is it, somebody said it's like way longer than a Bible or something? Jesus Christ.
Or in other words, it would take an average person over 90 hours to read through all of it. You can also view the entire lore of Arknights as 4 times the entirety of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god.
But what actually makes a great world building?
Oh my god, okay, that's one hell of a perspective. It's like 90 hours, I thought like, oh, that's like Zenizon Zero is like 80 or something of just sitting through watching the game. Just to compare, right? But like 4 times Lord of the Rings is like hitting so hard, because Lord of the Rings is just, oh my god. Are we talking extended or normal?
What actually makes us want to visit Terra, despite the fact that all
we
of
don't want
to
visit Terra, yeah.
And dystopian
it's so
Terra
fucked
really
up.
Is. Are we at zero sanity? A world doesn't just pop up out of nowhere with all of its different nations.
Yes,
People
we are.
don't just magically have specific traits for no particular reason. A nation doesn't wage war against one another just for the thrill of it. Otherwise, it would feel
debatable.
very unnatural. What makes the world building of Arknights so fascinating is how they have both otherworldly fantasy elements and realistic conflicts between people and nations at the same time, as if the game has stripped out one of the cruelest sections from our history books,
what is that,
put it into a
Lappland?
fantasy world.
I really
It
need
is
to watch the
probably the
PVs,
closest
huh?
of world building to the likes of Game of Thrones.
Oh my god,
all
I
the
straight up, if not for the dragon, I thought this was a scene from, oh my god, 𝗔𝗟𝗟, which is a Polish movie of like medieval, was it medieval? It was when the Templars basically, like, not invaded Poland, but they kind of took the north part of Poland, and we were like, oh cool, religion, and then we were like, oh not cool, they are Germans. That is what happened basically.
Nations and their conflicts, how the
Like
history of some
1200s
nations
or
still haunts
something.
them in the present day, how some past events are connected with present international
1400?
affairs.
When was it? I'm
how
so
certain
bad at
nations
history, I
used to be
apologize. Do
superpower,
not listen
but
to
fell
me.
into obscurity, how there are world-ending threats but nobody gives a fuck about because everyone is busy dealing with their own shit.
Yeah.
As you can see, the world building of
Oh my god, each time I see this map, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Also, this doesn't include 𝗔𝗟𝗪, I guess, because there is Iberia, and like 𝗔𝗟𝗪 would be like even below, right? Or like somewhere at sea. Oh my goodness, bro. These fucking maps are insane. Oh, Higashi is all the way over there. I thought Higashi was like somewhere in here. Huh. I guess I'm thinking about a real world too much.
Arknights is quite complicated, and one can easily lose themselves in
God,
this giant
Ursus is so
labyrinth,
fucking
which is why
big.
to make the visit to this god-forsaken world more attractive, I've made this guide video to travel through every nation, to take a deep dive into each nation's unique history
Peak.
while admiring their
Shout out
sightseeing.
plus minus.
Why? Because you clicked on this video, because you are
I
curious,
I am.
because you want to visit Terra.
Ah,
Although before we
debatable.
go, there are 4 basic but very important things that you need to hear. The
Interesting
world
how
of
much I'm
Arknights
gonna
has a lot
know
of similarities with our
from
world.
this, how
However,
much
there
I'm
are
not
a few
gonna know.
things which make Terra
Hey,
a lot
normal
more
people.
different,
Thank
despite
you.
its similarities in culture and nations. The main energy source for almost every nation is a dark crystalline substance called originium. Originium is often found in nature, in the aftermath of big catastrophes, or grows on living beings. There are 3 places on Terra where the density of originium is extremely high.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Colossal Prime Vein, Targangir's Prime Vein, and Gringyu. Okay. Doesn't this like cover Columbia, Sami? Up north? And this is like Ursus and Jan, makes sense. I actually have no idea what is here. Like Rim Billington or something.
These spots are called prime veins, and only a few nations can claim to be truly profiting from those. Why that is because originium is often found in a very active state. It is flammable, explosive, and can even grow over time, if not contained correctly. This leads us to the second big factor on Terra, catastrophes. Just like in our world, catastrophe is nature's wrath in its purest form.
Like actually, I don't think I knew that it was like flammable and explosive. I thought it's like due to some people's arts or something, or like processing it, or I don't know what. I'm thinking endfield way too much, by the way, I'm sorry.
Earthquakes, sandstorms, floods, blizzard, and meteor showers, to just name a few.
Meteor
in the
showers.
world of Arknights, the word catastrophe is branded with a different kind of fear. These are oftentimes way bigger and more destructive than the catastrophes in our world. Catastrophes on Terra can easily wipe out an entire city within a day, and even if you somehow survive it, you are likely not going to survive the aftermath of it. As I mentioned earlier, active originium can be found right after a big catastrophe. Why is active originium bad?
It's like kind of like radiation, isn't it? That there comes the catastrophe, like a fucking bomb. And then you have the radiation after that, the fucking, atomic bomb, I mean.
Leads us to the third point, getting infected. An incurable disease known as oropathy. If you get in contact with active originium, you are likely to get
You're
infected.
Hey,
Originium
can't
density
see.
will slowly become denser in your blood circulation. After a long time, solid crystals would grow inside your body and eventually even on your skin, causing great pain to the point of
Oh,
the
it
inability
starts
to
on the
move or
inside.
breathe.
Oh.
Aside from all these negative traits,
Oh, suddenly
infected
all
people
my
don't need to
insides
use a magic medium to cast art. Oh right,
hurt.
arts is the magic system on Terra, also known as originium arts. In some nations it is akin to magic, while in others it is viewed as a scientific field.
I was about to say, it's like, I wouldn't classify arts as magic necessarily. I would be one of those who call it science, because it is like, it's not like magic bullshit go. It's not like, okay, kind of is, but like, it's not like you have some mana magical energy. It is that originium, and it has some energy within it, and then it grows inside you. Therefore, you're about to die, but you also get superpowers sometimes, not always, if I remember correctly. So I would be one of the people to call it more science than magic, but I guess I can see both ways.
Viewed as a scientific field, but on the grimmer side, infected people experience great prejudice. Some nations mistreat them worse than others.
Oh.
There are places where they send them to forced labor camps, while other states prohibit them from practicing specific work or entering certain areas. The crystal on the host's body grows even after death. I wonder what we can do with those crystals. It sure would be a waste
why
to throw
that
them
scene was
away.
kind of funny to me.
Anyway,
I'm
definitely
sorry.
wondering
It
how
shouldn't have been.
civilizations can even survive in such a harsh environment.
Yeah, that is
A world
insane
filled
that
with never-ending catastrophes,
people
incurable diseases,
still live
and
there
dangerous but profitable resources.
and even fight each
How do
other.
nations manage to survive, let alone prosper in this world, to the point to even have golden ages or become world-dominating superstate? Well, in the world of Arknights, it is a common practice to build cities on gigantic moving platforms. These are being dubbed nomadic city.
Yeah.
These nomadic cities can avoid being in the center of an approaching catastrophe by relocating itself in time. This is only possible on Terra because of the tremendous amount of energy Originium can provide. Now that I have told you the basics of this world, we will be heading right into it.
Nice. It's actually interesting because I didn't know some parts of that even, right? Like the gigantic rich originium veins in the world and stuff like that, and like the kind of difference of approach between magic and science.
Stop is Ursus, aka you are sus. Actually it means bear, since the majority of its
the
population are
bears.
ursine. In the ancient times, the nation was known as the Empire of Hippogriff.
I do have to say that I don't know how I feel about the bears being Russian racist fuckers, you know, but I guess it is what it is. I'm Polish, by the way, if you didn't know, and you know, war is right next to my doorstep, and I don't like that.
But the old Tsar was overthrown due to the elite's racist behaviors towards the lower class, which were primarily the ursine people. After the coup, the nation was filled with pride and nationalism, which was the perfect combination for world domination.
Let's go.
So, the newly proclaimed Ursus Empire started to expand westward to gain more land and resources to fuel their continued expansionism, and while they were at it, they also oppressed small tribes and nations along the way. There was nothing the Ursus Empire hadn't fought against throughout their history of conquest. Mythical godlike beings,
including
demons from the north,
yeah,
and knights with guns.
I was about to say.
The only nation that proved to be a real
problem.
obstacle was Kazimier's.
Yeah, yeah.
The Ursus Empire proved themselves.
Fuck, I need to change. I need to become Uma Musume. I need to become a horse cat, fucking damn it, Arknights. Yeah, the only one to stand against Ursus. Kazimierz, kurwa. Sorry, okay. My nationalism kicked in. Man, it's so funny, I don't know shit about Kazimierz. I should dive into Kazimierz lore, bro. What the fuck am I doing?
Was Kazimierz, the land of the knights. Nonetheless, the Ursus Empire proved
I only know the that we have
military
dubstep and
amongst all
tournaments.
nations, by expanding so much that it has become the biggest nation on Terra, even to this day. They really loved to throw spears at their enemies, having the tankiest defenders to stop anyone from making a dent into their positioning, while mortars can attack from afar and artillery targeteers made sure the
Oh,
artillery
they have
hit every
drones,
single
they have
one of
killer
their targets
drones.
until they died, a very miserable death.
Oh no.
The army of Ursus spread fear all across Terra quite equally, by not only killing foes, but also their own civilians.
Oh,
The testimony
well,
of
that
Terra
sucks.
during Ursus' 𝗔𝗟𝗟 heyday goes like this. 5 groups of shieldmen can slaughter a squad of knights, 4 royal guards can wipe a settlement off the map,
Oh.
3 Wendigos can conquer a small town, 2 army groups can
Okay, that's not true. That has to be like
3
fake. 3 Wendigos can conquer a small town. 3 Wendigos could conquer a nation, emo. Like, okay, maybe not everyone was like the goat, the patriot himself, right? But at the same time, I feel like Wendigos were so ancient and powerful, they could like wipe out a smaller nation.
can conquer a small town, 2 army groups can decimate a duchy, 1 sovereign
Unless town you mean like the nomadic city, like some sort of, you know, capital or something. That would make sense
conquer a small
to
town.
me. But okay,
2
maybe
army
I'm
groups
overestimating
can decimate a
them
duchy, 1
because of the
sovereign can
patriot.
throw the world into chaos. And this is excluding their most feared soldiers, the Emperor's blade.
Oh
They
yeah.
are literally the blade of the Tsar and would execute his majesty's will at any given time.
Yep.
These fellows covered in mask use a demon power in combination with their near inhuman capabilities in combat.
And it still was not enough, sacrificing all of the Emperor blades to stop the seaborn. It's fucking insane.
And are mostly feared for their dark farts. If you see one, they
Dark
might start a
farts.
conversation like this.
Dark arts, dark farts. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm 5. I'm laughing at fart jokes.
They feared for their dark farts. If you see one, they might start a conversation like this. Take my advice, kill yourself. But with great power comes great responsibility.
Aura,
and
kill
that wasn't
yourself.
Ursus' strength. They usually put the people from newly conquered nations into their gulags. Their own citizens aren't treated any better because
Low
most
tier
of their
god yourself.
resources go into its military effort. The Ursus population lived in a poor condition, and just like in the old days, the Ursus revolted again, this time putting an end to the brutal military regime. All
Awesome.
of this happened because none of the elites really learned anything from history.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, why learn from history when you can just repeat it?
Exactly.
Anyway, the new rebellion brought big changes. Now
Awesome.
all Ursine are equal, but some Ursine
Ah.
are more equal than others.
Nah.
Ursus
So it's back to socialism, baby.
has turned from an expansionist nation into a more open and conservative one. Its new ruling class are a new generation of intellectuals and royalties who seek to modernize the nation. This does sound pretty good, right? So, what
Yeah,
do you
awesome.
think the Ursus of today would look like?
Yeah.
Well, it still inherits a strong nationalism, and the discrimination against the infected has gotten even worse.
Oh,
ever
even
since
worse.
The incident in Chernobyl.
What the
Basically,
fuck happened in
an infected
Chernobyl?
group called Reunion rallied together to riot, took over the entire nomadic city of Chernobyl, and drove towards Lungmen. When I heard the news, this was my honest nuclear reaction. Oddly enough, even after the city was lost, it was still sending out a strong signal that it belonged to the Ursus Empire. Sounds like a skill issue to me. I bet it was simply a
Okay.
malfunction when Reunion took it over. Let's
Was
move on
there
to our next
something more to it? Maybe, possibly. I feel like I've seen this.
Reunion.
I
rallied
heard
together
something
to
about this, right?
riot.
And I've seen this symbol somewhere. Is this related to that, like, ice lady fox? Was that it? Was that Reunion? Maybe. Because she was saved by the Patriot, so that's why I'm making the connection that this was that. But I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Took over the entire oil, sending out a strong signal that it belonged to the Ursus Empire. Sounds like a skill issue to me. I bet it was simply a malfunction when Reunion took it over. Let's move on
Maybe
to our
there was
next
something
stop,
more.
The Great Yen.
Yeah. The land of the Lang, but do not confuse the Lang with the Langmen and the Long and
What's up,
the
Beijing? Welcome to
fucking what the what's Ping Chiling. Ni hao. 𝗔𝗟𝗟𝗪 𝗔𝗟𝗟 something. I don't know. I watched the Michael Reeves Ludwig going across China, tip to. I don't know why What's Up Beijing was so fucking funny to me. I wanted to say something. And like to go back to Lang or whatever the hell is zhuang fangyi from Endfield. Because people are screaming at me that she is not Lang, which is so fucking stupid. She should be Lang. She made the chubby Lang. Why is she not the Lang? What the fuck?
The Great Yen, one of the oldest nation on Terra. It is an imperial
What is wrong with you, Enfield?
ruled by an emperor, and there are 6 ministries.
I was
As
trying
one
to
of the
finish
oldest
1.2
nations, Yen
Enfield
has
story.
preserved all of its traditional culture from its prehistoric dynasties and is now on their way to fully embrace modernization. The gigantic agricultural nomadic city Dahon is able to feed almost the entire population of Yen on
The fields are flat and fertile.
its back, and their international financial powerhouse Lungmen are just a few shining examples of Yen's way to progress and prosper.
Flat is
In
justice.
fact, Yen has been known as one of the most stable nations on Terra, since it never really got involved in any warfare with other nations throughout its entire history.
Only civil wars and fighting gods. Nothing, not a biggie.
Yen would also send out envoys to neighboring nations to settle war-related matters, of course with the attempt to achieve its own political agenda. Aside from the stable and peaceful land, Yen is also known for its unwavering economic monopoly in the world of Terra. The Lungmen dollar, a currency that is very widely accepted amongst
The rolling stocks in Endfield. Oh no, the stock market. It only goes down. It only goes down in Endfield.
all around Terra, simply because of its stability. It is so widely used that it is being viewed as Terra's main currency.
Oh damn.
But Yen wasn't always like this. Before the dawn of the Common Era, Yen was ruled by merciless gods, also known as Pharaohs. Always in awe and terror, these
I will never learn how to pronounce Pharaohs. Pharaohs. I will never learn. I will never learn, even if they introduce them in Endfield.
merciless gods, also known as Pharaohs. Always in awe and terror, these Pharaohs reigned over the people of Yen with their miracle-creating powers that just went over the laws of nature effortlessly. But the Emperor had a dream. He wanted the humans to govern for themselves. One day,
whatever the
these scholars found
currency
bones
is
of ancient Pharaoh corpses. Were these dead Pharaohs similar to their rulers?
If it can bleed, it can die. Why is
They
that?
had any
There are chapters in the video, and the one about China is just like fully in fucking Chinese. I have no idea what this means. Maybe it just means Yan, but it's kind of funny.
connections with them. Nonetheless, one thing was clear to the current emperor: their masters were not so immortal after all. So he decided to plot an assassination against his own deities. This act was then dubbed as the Great Hunt by Terra historians.
Me
of
fighting the
modern era.
giant at the
They
start of
used
Skyrim.
ancient rituals as an excuse to gather all the heavenly beings to one spot, to kill them all at once. To do so,
Yay.
the emperor secretly gathered the biggest army around the deities, and they started the slaughter by killing the weakest first. The slaughter turned into a full-scale war between man and god, and it looked really bad for Yen, but in the midst of it all, one of the Pharaohs, Sui, the one closest to humans, decided to fight against his brethren. This was the turning point of the war, but in actuality, Sui's true intentions was very selfish.
Oh, I actually
He wanted to
don't know
rule
that.
over Yen alone, by helping the emperor to slay every single one of his brethren until none was left. And while the Yenese army was exhausted from all the fighting, he would take the chance and strike when they were at their weakest. However, the emperor was aware of the plan and prepared countermeasures beforehand. Basically, the Great Hunt was a backstabbing contest to see who
Split
can
them up
backstab
into
the
anniversary
most. I bet
units.
even Sui forgot on whose side he was fighting anymore.
Oh,
And
what
ever
the fuck?
since that day, Yen was known as the nation that slayed gods.
That's metal as fuck.
Sui was not completely defeated though. He was split into 12 fragments, 12 weaker Pharaohs, so to say. Each of them have their own ideals, their own personality, and their own unique autism. Nian, a spice-loving extrovert who can create anything from weapons to...
What do you mean unique autism? What the fuck?
Nian, a spice-loving extrovert who can create anything from weapons to entire nomadic cities out of thin air. She also makes shitty movies and likes to be around places where big things happen.
She looks cool.
Probably the best shot in waifu you can wish for, because she is so socially awkward that she only interacts with her painting, quite literally. She has made a world through her painting. Once you enter this world, it really makes you wonder who is real. There are only two kinds of introvert, the oh no people guy and the ill people guy. She belongs to the later specimen. In Twilight's embrace, Ling takes her place. She is the most mature one compared to the other two sisters,
the drunk
a
one.
strategist with wisdom and grace. With pen in hand, she crafts her rhyme. A poet who bends both space and time. Her goblet filled, she drinks with ease. Yet her mind remains sharp, like a breeze.
Yo, pop
Drunk
off plus
sober,
minus.
None can tell, for in her dreams she casts a spell.
Yo.
Reality raps at her command.
Brogus
in a world
rhymed.
where dragons stand. Enemies falter,
stand on
lost
all of
in her
us.
sway, as Ling leads the drunk
Poetry
dance,
mocked
night
us.
and day. Forever poised, forever keen. She's always being chilling.
It was still going. Oh my fucking god. What the fuck?
Forever poised, forever keen. She's always being chilling. Chongyue, he is the world's strongest kung fu fighter. Through his immortal life, he has mastered all the fighting styles. People know him primarily for doing nothing but working out and training. Dude is literally living his autism to its fullest. We have turned all of his techniques into consumable copy pasta.
What?
Shu, welcome to the rest.
What is happening? Oh yes, Rice Fields. Yeah, we love Shu. I thought this guy. Am I crazy? I think in one of the videos he was mentioned, or was it not him? There was like some kung fu god, and you guys told me that he wasn't a god. Maybe he doesn't count as a god because he's just a part of Sui. I don't know.
Turn all of his techniques into consumable copy pasta. Shu, welcome to the rice field, motherfucker, for we will be harvesting these crops. Here is where people sow. She is the flattest mother figure, but definitely not the least fertile. She is the sole reason why Yin is able to feed its growing population. Let's finally take a look at Yin.
I love Shu since Arknights Synesthesia 2025. Yay, she was awesome.
In our current day and age. Thanks to Yin's geographical location, it is far away from the Terran heartland, which means it never gets involved in any bloody conflict between the many nations there. Throughout the centuries, it had its consistent population growth and resources to prosper, which is why it has become a laid-back superpower on Terra by simply minding its own business. In addition, some of the 12 fragments
do nothing and win, the steamed strategy
of Sui are helping the Yin Empire to prosper. Nian can build the empire whatever they need, whether it is new nomadic cities for the growing population or walls ranging through an entire nation border to defend threats from the north.
She can build a wall. She can build the entire city if she wanted to. What the fuck? There are like power scaling in Arknights is abso-fucking-lutely useless. Because you're like, oh, she can create an entire city. I'm assuming out of thin air using her godly power. And that's like fucking nothing. Because Skadi can come in, slash with a sword once, and that city is fucking gone. like power scaling in Arknights like starts at world destruction. And then it's like universal threats. Just higher. What the fuck?
To Yin, it is all a very trivial task. Shu, on the other hand, is the one making sure that the agriculture flourishes every year, so that the growing population is getting fed. Chongyue has been training the Yanese soldiers for as long as he has gained consciousness and defended threats from the north. What that threat exactly is will be covered in part 2. Ling,
is there a part 2?
What did she actually...
You mean like second half of the video, or is there a part 2 to this video, so you want to visit Terra? Oh no. Oh, I'm so fucking cooked. We know what the threats are. I mean, I know what the threats are already, so I'm open to watch more about them, but I remember immediately leave Sami, the black snow, and human hands.
She contributed to Yen. She was a great strategist who also defended Yen from northern threats, that's for sure.
Oh,
but she mostly did philosophical thinking and sophisticated drinking. After all, philosophy is best viewed through a lens made from the bottom of an empty bottle. And thus
he's still rhyming, what the fuck?
Nothing more, nothing less. All in all, Yen has managed to turn a few of the 12 fragments on their side, and is using them as multiple cheat codes in their Civilization 6 session.
True.
But not every fragment is working so obediently under the Yen government.
I'm not the biggest fan of this type of games.
Lurking in the shadows, working against the current regime. Every year, one of them would come out and play a game of wiki against the Emperor, and if he wins, he gets to go out into the land and spread chaos. Honestly, if it were by me, I'd just have flipped the table. Their endgame is to bring all 12 fragments together, so they can revive the Dsui once more. This is extremely concerning.
Interesting. So how long we have? It's been like 6, 7 years of... Oh, I didn't mean to. But now I have to. 6, 7. Fucking hell. I actually didn't mean to. God damn it. I think it's been 7 years already, right? On the CN server at the start of May. It's been 7 years of Arknights. That is insane. That is a crazy number for a gacha game. I mean, there is also like Fate Grand Order, who has been there for like 10, 11 years now, which is insane.
Because if Dsui gets revived, it is likely going to turn Yen upside down, and might even become a world-ending threat. It is what I'm worried about. It's definitely not because
way too many of those already. Who cares?
In husbandos. If Dsui is completed, why would I even think that? Anyway, if we are traveling through the Great Yen, then there's one place we simply cannot miss out on, and that is Lungmen, the economic powerhouse of Yen. It is a gigantic nomadic city that has special financial perks, which benefits Yen's total economical growth.
Oh my god, it's Hong Kong.
Super metropolis is anything but traditional. You can find the most hip clothing brands from all across Terra, from giant districts of world-renowned companies such as Raytheon, Rhinelab, and Mama John's, to totally trustworthy detective agency. There's anything in this restless city. A city where you can witness an epic rap battle between a man and a penguin.
Oh my god, that's where the rap battle is. Yes, rap girlfriend. Deratusi, I'm sorry, I played Zendes.
Is one of the places where diversity flourishes. Oh, and when we are talking about diversity, they are just not so keen with the infected. But hey, I mean, they would simply ruin the business and prestigious image of the city.
God, sorry.
So it is totally understandable.
I've been coughing for a few days.
Infected went,
Hope
well,
it's nothing
honestly,
serious.
You are asking the wrong person. But if I take a guess, they are probably living somewhere at the outskirts of the city, places where people wouldn't see them. Conveniently, nobody would notice.
Yeah, seriously, what is this OST?
By the hundreds. Anyway, enough with the minor inconveniences of using Originium. Let's look at the bright side, and with that, I mean, let's look at the different nation handling it.
Yeah.
If it appears like a company, acts like a company, and smells like a company, then it is a company. Rimbilliton is a corporatocracy primarily known for...
Why did I think it's gonna be Colombia? Because of the industries? I was like, oh, industry, USA. I guess I don't know about Rimbilliton too much.
Its booming Originium mining industry. Its nature mostly consists of outbacks and deserts with its primary population of cultists. The birth of Rimbilliton was thanks to the age of colonization. Back in the days, the area was discovered to be close to one of the 3 prime veins.
This part of the video is called Golden Carrot, what the heck?
Which consists of rich Originium sources. Every powerful nation sends their best expedition teams and mining companies in an attempt to claim the land for themselves. In the midst of the Originium rush, the political situation between the superpowers in the Terran heartland began to brickle, which made them shift their focus back on their homeland. The expeditioners and companies were all left to govern for themselves. What looked like a grim reality was actually a blessing in disguise, because at that time they bonded together, formed a nation by declaring their sovereignty to all other countries. Of course, none of the superpowers in the Terran heartland would accept that without attempting to overthrow the Bolivian government for a takeover. But because they were too busy with their own war games at that time, they could only send small forces to harass Bolivians. The superpowers met aggressive reactions and were repelled time and time again, until they finally learned their lesson and backed away. Well, except for Victoria, they are still trying to take control over the mining industry of Worldbuilding and insert their sovereignty. And Bolivians were like, nice opinion, one small issue, I am Bunny. British felines, they are too full of themselves, even now. Don't worry, we will get into that too. Worldbuilding is still a self-governing corporatocracy.
What is it between the bunnies and
corporate? It has quadrupled its mining operations.
Only less. Not that they are not racist. They are less racist.
A large portion of Worldbuilding's population are in fact infected. But worry not, because Worldbuilding doesn't treat the infected as bad as Ursus, since they are aware that working in Originium mines would easily result in getting neuropathy, so they don't discriminate against the infected. Not from an ethical perspective at least, but from a corporate perspective. They are discarded if they can no longer provide value to the mining companies.
Not W. God damn it. I was like, oh, they are not racist. Let's go. They are not like, you know, I don't know which one would it be, like classist, xenophobic? No. Yes, no. How do you, like, when there was like a plague IRL, what would you call that? Is there a word for that? To like discriminate against sick people? Is there a word like that? If there is, I don't want to know it. There probably is. Oh my god, I apologize. Super small tangent. I recently learned that there isn't really a word in Polish language for the word enjoy. There isn't a single word that can express enjoyment in Polish language, which is so fucking sad, but so fucking true. Anyway, moving on.
Usually, the infected would still get a big paycheck that can last them for a few months.
Let's go.
Good luck finding a new job as an infected, I would say.
No.
Next stop is going to be a place
not the
that
worst,
is known for
right?
Sportsmanship,
yes,
and entertainment.
Yes,
near light. Welcome to 𝗔𝗟𝗪, the land of the knights.
Oh, that was pretty good. That was pretty good with the pronunciation. Hell yeah.
It is near light. Welcome to 𝗔𝗟𝗪, the land.
𝗔𝗟𝗪. Fucking close enough. Beautiful. The best pronunciation in terms of Polish language that I heard so far. Let's go.
And entertainment.
It's definitely not Kazimierz.
Near light. Welcome to 𝗔𝗟𝗪, the land of the knights.
Yeah.
We talked about 𝗔𝗟𝗪
Look
before.
the fucking.
They were one of the only obstacles for Ursus' conquest.
Yeah,
so
we do not
let's get to know the real deal.
Bow.
𝗔𝗟𝗪 is basically Poland, if being a horse knight wielding arts makes you OP. A nation inhabited mostly by horse people, aka Kurantas. They occupied the vast grassland in the Terran heartland and is governed by a confederation of knight groups. The classical way to distribute power fairly amongst the governing organs of a nation, you could say it is a bit closer to democracy. Other nations like to refer to 𝗔𝗟𝗪 as the land of the knights and just. Ever since the beginning of 𝗔𝗟𝗪's history, it has been a place where the strong protected the weak, a place where chivalry and justice blossomed. But this nation did come with its own challenges. In its whole history, 𝗔𝗟𝗪 has faced countless brutal invasions from foreign powers.
Wow, it is actually Poland, huh?
And it always questioned their ideology.
Yeah.
Centuries ago, it was the Hippogriff Empire that never ended their harassment.
Yeah.
These were actually quite easily repelled, and they eventually stopped trying to harass at 𝗔𝗟𝗪ian borders. And then came the Neimoran Khaganate, aka the Terran Genghis Khan.
Oh, yeah, that happened
to the
too.
Hippogriff Empire to submission first, and were after 𝗔𝗟𝗪 as a side dish. Hence, while the Hippogriff Empire stopped the harassment, it wasn't because they didn't want to. It was because the great Khagan annihilated them. Khagan had a vision. He wanted to conquer the world. Now, how do I explain this so that modern people like you would get it? It was a coming-of-age tradition for all Nightmoran tribes to go into uncharted places and bring back extraordinary tales to tell for their tribesmen.
Awesome.
The Great Khagan simply took it to an extreme level. He wanted to conquer everything. So, the Great Khagan and his Nightmoran horde effortlessly beat the Casimirian Knight army into submission.
The governing
Knight group, the Pegasus, kneeled before the Great Khan and arranged a peace negotiation. This was one of the most humiliating chapters in Casimir's history.
It is what it is.
Majority of its population.
It happens like one every 500 years. It's chill. We're gonna bounce back, don't worry about it.
Population grew extremely dissatisfied with the ruling Pegasus and eventually united under the goal to remove them from their position of influence. The revolt started when the Nightmoran campaign came to an abrupt end, with the sudden death of the Khagan in the far south. All went successful, and the new political system demanded the Knight to split their power and influence in a different way. They kept their political power, but had to turn a large portion of their wealth over to retinues. These people are referred to as merchants. They were given the task to manage the wealth. This went wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, that
the
sounds
nation lived
so
through
bad.
a peaceful era in which the merchants grew more influential by the year, and by the time the nation formed a democratic system, the merchants had become such a powerful entity that they were able to control the economy of the nation. Merchants were always seen as lower-class citizens in the eyes of the knights, but now that the merchants have banded together to become one powerful and wealthy entity, they can no longer be ignored by the governing knight groups.
Money.
The power struggle between the corporate faction and the governing knights was very polarized. The knights were in full control of the governing knight was very polarized.
So fucking stupid, but I like it. I mean, that's, to be honest, that's a problem even today. Like, I don't want to get into politics, but the problem today with Polish government, like, we had very conservative government for the past, like, 8 years. And then we finally got more centrist, left-leaning kinda government. Which I think was pretty good, and there is still so fucking much corruption and like behind the closed doors deals under the table and stuff like that. I mean, right now, as I'm recording this, one of our like fucking chief of justice or something is fucking running away from his responsibilities. And everything he fucked up and like fucking, I don't know if he conspired against Poland or what the fuck was he doing, but he was doing a lot of shady fucking shit. And she fucking fled to Hungary first, where fucking Orban protected him. And then when Orban lost the fucking votes recently, right, that motherfucker went to USA for Trump to fucking help him or something. I don't fucking know who and what and why and what the fuck is happening. I'm like, bro, like, why? Like, you are definitely guilty of everything, if not more, if you are running away to another fucking continent. Like, what the fuck is happening with Polish government? And there is no justice. There is no justice. They are all fucking immune to the law because they are in the government. Like, what the fuck? And I'm not just telling this about the past government, the conservative one. The new one also doesn't do fucking anything. They don't do anything. I was like, get their asses. Fucking throw them into jail. No, nothing. Nothing is happening. Nothing is fucking happening. I swear, like, in 2 years or whatever, the right wing is gonna win again, and they're gonna put half of the leftists in the fucking jail. And that's what's gonna happen. Like, I just straight up see that, and that's gonna be so fucked up. And the left/center is not doing fucking anything about it.
The knights were in full control of the military, while the merchants had control over the...
And don't get me started on our fucking stupid president Nawrocki. Jesus fucking Christ. He wants to be Trump so bad, and he's such a fucking pathetic idiot. In my opinion, allegedly. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, no politics, no more politics.
The knights were in full control of the military, while the merchants had control over the economy of the nation. But one small factor broke the status quo. It was a calm Saturday afternoon. A hairless knight noble was holding an auction in hopes to sell his castle on a nomadic platform to the highest bidder. He invited his other noble friends. One after another, everyone placed their bet. But to everyone's surprise, it was not a nobleman that would offer the highest bid. It was his own retinue. This was very inspiring to the merchants. Why don't we just buy off the knights' land and military? They can't outbid us all.
Oh no.
The knights had to renegotiate with the now powerful merchants and formed a new governing entity, the Casimir's General Chamber of Commerce, in short KGCC. This was a sad day for the knights, but a good day for the merchants, and a good day for people like us, who love to spend money and consume.
Never mind. Awesome day.
Centered around making money. The first nation that
Did you know you can subscribe and join the membership to get a cool badge and emotes and exclusive Discord server channel place? Yeah, plug, join the Discord. First link, link in the description or the pinned comment.
That is taking capitalism as their motto was born. Money ruled the nation. The knights only had one option: become a gear of the gigantic corporate machine.
Yeah.
With this big change came the biggest shift in culture of Casimir's. The nation has slowly but gradually abandoned their tradition. It is all about stonks and profit. War with a neighboring nation can solidify its own economic growth if it means sacrificing a large portion of its own knights. No more knights on the street, only dubstep, Casimirian dubstep, the sound of
That is one thing that I don't understand. We don't have dubstep, we don't listen to dubstep. I don't know when they get that idea. Did Hypergriff just wanted to have dubstep in the game and so they threw it in Poland? Because we don't have dubstep, we don't listen to dubstep, like maybe some techno EDM stuff, but not dubstep specifically. And we definitely don't make that type of music. There is that annoying as fuck disco polo music, right? But as the term says, it's disco, not dubstep.
And soulless consumerism is what makes up the Casimirs of today. Man has forgotten true struggle, as well as those who require it to survive. The last knight left in this country has abandoned the
Oh wait, what did I say?
As those who require it to survive. The last knight left
Flex slaying the ocean, hell yeah. Oh wait, yeah, there was, oh fuck, I don't remember that, but there was something about that. Yeah, something about the seaborn, right? Fuck, why did I forget about him? Oh no, he was in that one animation too, fuck.
Has abandoned the nation in an attempt to slay the ocean.
Yeah.
I think you went crazy after all that happened. But what about the good old tradition?
Yeah,
what about being a noble knight and fighting for justice? Would the good people of Casimirs really forget about all the heroism and chivalry? Would they forget about all the sacrifices the knights have committed to protect this land? Of course not, because knight sport is the best way to show the world that Casimirs is indeed still the nation of knights. Introducing the Major. It is the biggest sport event on Terra, held every 3 years in the capital of Casimir.
Hell fucking
See it as a tournament arc where participants are organized into teams referred to as night clubs. Successful clubs can be promoted to night orders, but must maintain their performance to avoid demotion. It is simple, just keep on winning and you will never be forgotten. Independent knights can also compete, but are generally at a disadvantage compared to knights from well-funded clubs. High-performing knights in the Major may earn titles and get sponsorships from all sorts of established brands and prestigious titles, such as the Blood Knight, the Black Knight, or the Radiant Knight.
Oh, wait, the Black Knight is the girl from 𝗔𝗟𝗟, the bodyguard of silverash. That's her, right? I think. I don't know the Blood Knight, but he looks cool as fuck. And we have NTR, let's go. We love NTR.
Like I said before, this tournament is the personification of knighthood, the peak of Casimirs. It is the best thing they can offer.
Absolute
Every
cinema.
time a major event is held, the capital would dock with 3 other nomadic cities nearby to get more visitors and to make the major event even more unforgettable. because in the recent decades, the Major has become one of the most anticipated sports events for people from all across Terra. It simply cannot be ruined by infected people on the streets, which is why they are forced to be relocated into dark city alleys, where foreign visitors wouldn't spot them,
we don't
where
really
the
do
infected
that,
would be
I
set
feel
out
like.
into harsh environment and starve. They would get so hungry, they'd eat a... The Major is the flagship of the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 economy.
What would they eat? Like, no joke, what... I'm so stupid! So hungry they could eat a horse! Ah! I'm so fucking stupid. Jesus Christ. Okay, I feel like the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 portion was like half of the video, so sorry about that.
The Major is the flagship of the 𝗔𝗟𝗟's economy.
It's so crazy that a Radiant,
huge profit,
so a 𝗔𝗟𝗟 EP was the first one I ever heard. The first thing I saw from Arknights was a Radiant EP.
They obtained more money and fame than any knights from the previous era, and that is what 𝗔𝗟𝗟 is all about. Congratulations, 𝗔𝗟𝗟, you went from chivalry to capitalism.
We
Instead
did,
of raising the sword as a
unfortunately.
shield, they raised the sword for entertainment and profit.
Yeah, that is also
Maybe
kind of true.
justice
Also,
never
who the fuck was
existed
that guy?
in the first place. Well, that's
Why?
enough for the
That
nation
was-
of knights and capitalism.
that was
Let's take
so
a visit
sad
to a nation
ending,
that
what
is
the
still
fuck?
deep rooted with classical culture and studies into its own past. Welcome
Germany.
to Lithanian, the land of arts and music. Lithanian is a superpower in the Terran heartland. Most of its inhabitants are classical music-loving Arknights. The nation is ruled by a rigid governing system of different Kreise, with 2 empresses as their acting leaders. This is the nation with an aggressive-sounding tongue and the longest swear
Not
word
based.
on Terra.
Donaudampfschifffahrtsgesellschaftskapitänswitwenversorgungskassen Mitarbeiter.
However,
What the fuck? Hey, not Germans mocking us at the swear words. It means Danube's team's company captain's window pension fund employees. What does that mean? See, but like, nah, you are so fucked. This isn't about that. You have such a complicated long word. Also, this is bullshit because German words are comprised of other words, and instead of splitting them up, they keep it as a one word, which is fucked up. Also, we have a, I would assume, longer word in Polish. No, it's definitely not longer. The longest word in Polish is Konstantynopolitańczykowianeczka or Konstantynopolitańczykiewiczówna. I know it sounds like I cast a spell on you or something, and it just means the female citizen of Constantinople. By the way, that what I just said. And one is like archaic and one is not. I don't know why I'm giving you so much Polish lore. I just feel like it. I'm sorry. I hope you still enjoy my yapping. But like, this is so wrong. The Germans are so stupid. You just need one short, to the point, kurwa, and it's done. And all your Danube steamship company, captain, window, pension fund employees are fucked. Goodbye.
Arbeiter.
however, they aren't by any means aggressive. They have the
Oh yeah,
finest
no,
music
absolutely
concerts
not.
and historically longest study into the field of arts. In fact, their past ruler was once titled the most talented arts user on Terra.
Oh
But
shit.
please refrain from spelling his name or title. Don't ever do that, it brings bad luck. Lithanian is also known
What
for
is his
preserving and
name?
innovating classical music.
Somebody
And
spell
by
it in the
innovating,
comments.
I'm not talking about new orchestra pieces to enjoy. Well, they do that too, but I think you will understand it once I show it to you.
Yeah.
This is how a battle with Ursa's army looks like. This
Yeah.
is how a battle with 𝗔𝗟𝗟's knights looks like.
Yeah.
And this is how a battle with Lithanian army looks like.
Oh, what the fuck?
Careful of music on the battlefield, especially when you face a Lithania. Do you hear
Is
what
this
I'm talking
arts?
about?
Is
While
this
other
arts?
nations turn the battlefield into a bloodbath, Lithanian turns the battlefield into an orchestra. Lithanian arts is unique because centuries ago they combined sound with art,
It is.
and today they have mastered it, turning music into weapons. And you know
Hell
what
yeah.
the best thing is? They are one of the few nations that
Oh, this is... I'm assuming this is Originium on her body. I was like, why is she missing like half the face? Is that a texture bug or something? No, this is Oripathy. I apologize.
That don't discriminate against the infected, allegedly.
Allegedly.
They treat them like brothers and sisters. They only discriminate against those who can't use arts. Infected people are sent into special facilities for oripathy treatment. Well, the only drawback is that we don't get to see their infected family members once they are sent there. But knowing that they are being treated is good enough, right? Don't ask where the infected went. I'm sure they are all living peacefully in their facilities and getting treated. I mean, what would a nation with the highest knowledge about arts do to those poor infected anyway?
What would Germans do with people closing them in camps? I can't think of anything. Can you? It's not like this happened in history, you know, so we can never know. We will never know what could be happening there right now. Probably have some... Give them some hot dogs with mustard. Yeah.
Doing research on them? Using them as arts amplifier? Come on, we are not talking about Colombia. Anyhow, as one of the culturally richest nations on the Terran heartland comes with some unique attractions that we simply cannot miss out on. 𝗔𝗟𝗟, the capital of Lithuanian, a cultural heritage that is the Altstadt on this nomadic platform with their annual musical festival celebrating its liberal mindset and harmonious prosperity is a blessing for the eyes and ears. Wiesheim, a town famous for its music education and manufacturing of instruments. Everyone loves music in this town. In its center lies the Afterglow Hall, one of the most infamous places where musicals and orchestras are performed.
Nice.
This place used to be the arts amplifier of Terra's most powerful caster.
Huh?
And yes, I did say this place. He turned this entire building into his magical wand after all.
What the fuck?
Rumors even say that he turned the entire town in his arts medium. Now, what exactly did he use the arts medium for? That's a great question. We will get into that in a bit. But before that, let's have a history lesson about Lithuanian, how it became what it is now, to be more precise, the true story of the strongest caster on Terra.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go. I don't think I know too much about that.
In the year of 969, everything is as is.
I think this might have been mentioned in... This chapter is called Sauerkraut und Bier. I think this might have been mentioned in Discover Terra series, in the official ones, like the timeline one, but I don't necessarily know if there was like more info on it, or am I confusing it with another ruler?
The nation is ruled by different Kreise. Kreise are the equivalent of states. Each Kreis has their own way of governing their subjects, but all Kreise are bound by the 𝗔𝗟𝗟, an arts contract. Imagine a magical contract that makes the Kreise and their Kurfürsten physically.
Did you know that we as Polish people have a different name for the Germans? They are not Germans, they are Niemcy, which means that the deaf ones, the mute ones, because we could not understand their language for our lives. Like, ain't no fucking way. We straight up call them mute because they might as well be mute, because we cannot fucking understand a word they are saying. Straight up, that's fucking true. We don't call them Germans. We call them fucking mute.
Imagine a magical contract that makes the Kreise and their Kurfürsten physically and mentally impossible to divide into sovereign nations. Other states can join the 𝗔𝗟𝗟, and their state's name would be written on the arts contract. Small reminder, joining the Kreise is easy, but leaving is virtually impossible, simply because of the complexity of the arts contract. And this is how Lithuanian acts as a single nation. The nation itself is united under a strong arts contract. Every few years, the Kurfürsten of every Kreis would come together and vote for...
Like, fucking look at all of these names. Jesus fucking Christ. Dieter von der Falkenburg, Gustav von den Rossenhain, Heinrich von der Steiermark. Like, why do you have so many fucking words in your name? Du bist der neue, Herr, the new Kaiser, Hans von... Huh? You are the new Kaiser, Hans. Okay, Hans.
One
Popov Hans.
ruler worthy to take up the role of the acting emperor. they shall govern the nation and make all the Kreise prosper. In actuality, it is still the Kreise and their nobles who held the real power, because they can keep the emperor's influence if they want to. In a way, the nation is officially united, but doesn't quite act like a united nation. For example, each Kreis
God fucking damn it, Lithuanian music is so fucking
under the order of their own kurfürst. Of course, if the entire nation is at war, then the emperor would request the unification of the forces of all armies, but even then, the head of the Kreise still has control over their own army. I know it is confusing, but that's just a fraction of Lithuanians' old and rigid bureaucracy. This is Otto Dietmar Gustav von Urtica. He was a young and good lad, extremely gifted in music and arts. Dude was practically listening to the Bible in Viennese on the right ear, and listening to all 600 classical Lithuanian music pieces at 2 times the speed on the left ear, and he mastered all these music pieces in the span of 3 months. A prodigy child who also had the chance to get taught by the Castilian Lord of Liches. This is definitely...
Man, the more music I listen from like all of these games, the more I want to like go back to playing piano. Fucking hell. Am I gonna do it actually? Probably not, because I'm a lazy piece of shit, but who knows? Who knows? The most piano I played actually is in NTE, the new gacha game, Neverness to Everness. There is a piano and a drum set that you can actually play. And I straight up played like Undertale Megalovania on that shit, and I played like the beginning, because I don't know the full thing by heart. And I started learning how to play the Shorekeeper's theme from WUA, just to traumatize people who watch my NTE streams and they know about WUA. Yes, I am here to rage bait and see the world burn.
Gonna turn into a great
Maybe I am Lithuanian.
However, Otto wasn't satisfied by all the knowledge he had gained. He looked way further into the future with an even bigger ambition than all of his peers. Every other nation was progressing relentlessly, while Lithuanian was still holding on to its same old music and arts from centuries ago. And let's not forget its complicated political system that makes changes hard to begin with. The 𝗔𝗟𝗟 Gesetz turned out to be a hindrance. 𝗔𝗟𝗪, one of the Kreise, has been voicing out its independence for decades, but the arts contract wouldn't
no
let
independency
it happen,
for
which
you guys.
turned into countless civil
Why are they
unrest
throwing
inside
pizza?
What is going to happen to Lithuania in the next 20 or 30 years? Victoria has their steam knights, Iberia has made a pact with an advanced ocean civilization, and Ursus was becoming the new military powerhouse simply with their sheer brute force. Meanwhile, Lithuanian is still too stubborn to progress and can't handle its inner conflicts.
Huh. Crazy parallel to 𝗔𝗟𝗟 and silverash, actually. Very interesting.
Otto was already thinking 2 steps ahead, and with the unknown future of his beloved nation, he vowed to become the greatest ruler ever, once he gets his chance to sit on the throne. Ob du meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab? Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin. And thus he...
Is this something he actually says in the game, or is this plus minus wrote something in German? Do you have any idea?
...was chosen by the Kreise. First, he revamped the old rigid system. The Kreise and their Kurfürsten gradually lost their political influence, while he centralized power for himself. Now, any normal person would look at this and criticize his abuse of power, especially the Kreise and their Kurfürst, but...
I was about to say like, oh, pop off, but at the same time, giving all the power to one man is also not really great.
Not with Otto's regime. Not only did he say goodbye to the old system, he also brought to the common folk a prosperity they have never seen before.
Oh shit.
All thanks to his
okay, wait, maybe pop off. Maybe fuck it. Maybe
he earned himself the title Herkunft.
Fucking glasses. Not the glasses.
The Horn of Genesis. But the most astonishing feat was him ending the political unrest of the Kreis 𝗔𝗟𝗪. Herkomsthorn single-handedly managed to override the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 Gesetz and removed Herkomsthorn single-handedly managed to override the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 Gesetz and removed the name 𝗔𝗟𝗪 from the
Oh. So Siracusa was under Leith then? That's why they were throwing pizza! Those were Italians! Holy shit!
Contract, officially declaring the Siracusa as an independent nation, something no
Why?
one believed to be possible.
Why did he?
And
Why?
for the next
Why?
decades,
What?
he went on ruling over Lithanian. Everyone celebrated the
Why
rise
would
of
he do that?
Haakonsson, and he would go into history as the greatest ruler of Lithanian.
Yeah.
If it were not for the atrocities he had committed in the coming
Oh,
decades.
awesome.
Remember
Yeah.
the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 and the Kurfürsten? They actually hated him. I know, right? Shocker.
Yeah.
They lost their army, their influence, and their tradition. So to
Fucking
restore the glory
music.
of the good old Lithanian custom,
Oh.
they tried to stir civil unrest. Basically, they disobeyed Haakonson's order and were punished accordingly.
The music here, holy
The
fuck.
punishment for dissidents was cruel. Haakonson's leadership got worse from that point onwards. To expose and punish the opposing Kurfürsten, he enacted a group of loyalists who
Oh,
served as his
awesome.
personal secret police all
Yeah.
over Lithanian. At the same time, a dedicated group of cult-like loyalists was gradually formed around him. They were drawn to His Majesty's madness like a moth drawn by a candle. Normal citizens could only see his cruel actions, and he was eventually coined a new title, the Witch King. While the Witch King was busy
He's the Witch King? Oh shit! Okay. Fuck, that did not click in my head at all.
killing of his political opponents, he became a professional hikikomori, not because he became awkward around people, it was because he was too invested in his arts research. It was like an obsession, as if he was close to finding the truth behind this world. One night, he took a large dose of extra-dimensional substance to gain new knowledge. He ascended into a realm outside of reality and saw things that he would call the truth. The Witch King returned as a different person. He yaps about willing to do whatever it takes to prevent the looming end of this world
I will save
by
this nation.
killing the creator personally. He became much more
Oh.
secretive about his research and a lot crueler.
And dissidents will be petrified live on stage. What the fuck? Huh? I'll be killing the creator personally. Who? What? Creator? Huh? Doctor?
Personally, he became much more secretive about his research and a lot crueler when it comes to dealing with dissidents.
Did he
The
actually
treatment for
found
the
out about
infected
some
got
stuff?
worse. Well, treatment facilities have practically turned into his research facilities.
Oh no.
The Witch King started doing countless arts and originium related research. To keep up with his demand, his loyal followers delivered him infected citizens to experiment on.
What the
If
fuck?
you got infected during the reign of the Witch King, you have automatically become His Majesty's arts amplifier. Population of an entire town was found dead simply as a result of his art experiment.
What
He
the
also
fuck?
openly executed his political opponent by turning
Oh.
them into statues.
Oh.
The fear forever
That's
petrified
kinda
to
aura.
remind the common folk and his political opponents who the real boss was. The Witch King also spread his influence outside of Lithanian by following the colonialism trend of other superpowers such as Victoria.
Oh,
The
hell
Witch
yeah.
King took over control of Bolivar by establishing
dogs,
a puppet
okay,
regime
racist.
that followed his orders. Soon enough, the Gaulish Empire, the most powerful and influential
Oh,
nation
so we
in
are
the Terran
back,
heartland during the
okay.
period, proposed
This is
to turn
cool.
Lithania into their vassal state. Trust me, they asked the Witch King very nicely and were definitely not full of themselves. It was the worst time to send out such a bold message, but the Witch King did not turn the envoys down. He turned them into statues and sent them back to Gaul, officially declaring war.
Oh my god.
This war will go into history as the Gallo-Lithanian War. At the beginning of the
but
war,
others
Lithania
joined.
took massive L's from Gaul. Not only did the Gaulish
Oh.
army breached deeply into Lithanian
Oh, really?
soil,
What the
they
fuck?
also took over 4 Kreise in the span of 4 months.
What the fuck? I didn't know French had it like that. Since when? What the fuck?
However, all of this was simply because the Witch King did not participate in the war personally.
Oh, I see.
He did show up eventually by greeting the Gaulish army with his artificially created catastrophe, which
fucking
single-handedly
what?
wiped out the entire warship fleet.
Oh my fucking
And now
god.
you know what the Witch King used Wiesheim's Afterglow Hall for. It
Oh
was
my
a
god.
weapon of mass destruction.
Oh
It
my
brought such
fucking god, of
destructive
course it
power that
was.
Gaulish generals had to revisit their strategy.
Jesus, I love
And as if that
Lithuanian
wasn't
music,
bad
holy
enough,
fuck.
Victoria and Ursus decided
Yeah,
to join the war
yeah,
to
I saw
bully
that
Gaulish
map
Empire while
a
they
lot
were
of
at the
times.
bottom and help Lithanian win the war.
It's funny how they fought with each other as well, looking at all the like arrows and stuff, right? Like they fought each other and Gaul at the same time, basically. It's fucking hell. Oh no! Oh wait, the purple is the Gaulish. I'm sure Lithuanian and Victorian forces clashed together as well. Like there ain't no way they didn't, right? And then Ursine as well. Because it's catastrophe, 21st October. Oh, wait, this whole piece? This is what he did? Fucking hell. What the fuck? Oh no, Hercules, Thorns, Arts. Oh, Arts were here? Or was he like standing here and did the catastrophe? Or is this his catastrophe and this is a real catastrophe? Okay.
All three superpowers bullied Gaul into extinction.
Yeah.
Victoria and Ursus took the most spoil out of the war, leaving Lithanian in ruin. Since the war mostly took place on Lithanian soil, and when peace was restored, the Witch King returned to his cruel tyranny and shut himself away inside his spire. At this point, the people in Lithanian had enough of his reign. The Kurfürsten revolted against the Witch King. With the help of their carefully crafted secret weapon, whom even the Witch King had no idea about, these two brave wife materials breached through the defenses of the Witch King and at last managed to slay him. The fateful day will forever be marked as the liberation of Lithanian and celebrated as the September Aufstand. The two who slayed their majesty have become the new official rulers and are known as the Twin Empresses. The Witch King's spire was torn apart. From its remnants, a twin tower was built, and the capital was renamed after it, 𝗔𝗟𝗟. And that is how the tale of the Witch King ended, and how the Twin Towers end. The modern age. Let's have another look at the Lithanian of today, now that we have visited its past. The Twin Empresses have re-established the influence and bureaucratic system of the Kreise.
Kinda what?
Twin Empresses have re-established
We're kinda clueless how to govern.
the influence and bureaucratic system of the Kreise and their Kurfürsten. The infected are being sent to treatment facilities and usually never seen again. Congratulations, Lithanian. After 100 years, we have come full circle.
Yeah, nothing
absolutely
fucking
fantastic
changed.
And most praiseworthy. Nowadays, it is forbidden to refer to the previous ruler as the Witch King, and the name is simply a taboo. Only artworks and stage plays that depict His Majesty's downfall and demonizes him are allowed to be published, while the new ruling empresses are doing their best to restore Lithanian to its former glory.
Am I confusing Witch King with the Knights 𝗔𝗟𝗟 guy? Wasn't the Knights 𝗔𝗟𝗟 guy the like... I think last ride is his descendant or something. Wasn't he the Witch King? Or was he something else? Because I'm thinking about Knights 𝗔𝗟𝗟 when I think Witch King. And
remember when
maybe
I
I'm
talked
just
about
confusing
the
it.
cult-like people who gathered around the Witch King?
Oh, right.
The remaining loyalists of the Witch King were left with one motivation to keep them going: the revival of their beloved leader and restoration of his reign. For he is and will always be the true ruler of Lithanian.
Oh hell yeah, let's
will
resurrect
forever
him.
live in the fear of the past, while others strive to create the past glory by studying into the forbidden arts of their previous ruler, resulting in further meaningless suffering on the innocent. And that is how Lithanian, despite its advanced knowledge in arts, music and liberal education system, is still being haunted by its past shadow. Remember the Kreis 𝗔𝗟𝗟, the one that was overridden by the Witch King and then became an independent nation?
Yeah, but I still don't understand why.
Stop.
Yeah, lappland. I don't understand why he do that.
Sitting outside a restaurant, drinking wine, eating pasta, appreciating the opera performance on the street, not to mention the sweet dessert waiting to be served afterwards. What
Not
could
to mention
possibly
the
go
gang
wrong
war.
in such a sophisticated nation where the infected aren't discriminated against, and the only thing sharper than your fork is...
Plus minus fucking dies in explosion.
Welcome to Siracusa, where the mafia doesn't
video.
just influence the government, it is the government. The streets run red with Mariana sauce. Oh, wait, never mind. No, it's blood. Sorry. But don't let that scare you away. Underneath the constant family disputes, extortion, and friendly reminders to pay up on time, Siracusa is a vibrant cultural hotspot. Historians, however, would argue that Syracusan culture is the result of constant influence from foreign nations. The elegant opera performance is a direct cultural heritage from Lithanian. You know, when Siracusa was still a Kreis of Lithania.
I can see that, I guess.
Syracusa's legislation is brought by Columbia. Its tradition of delicious food and the faith in the church came straight from the holy influence of Laterano. So definitely a place worth visiting. Well, as long as you can turn a blind eye on the never-ending conflicts between different mafia families on the street that result in innocent civilians being killed in the crossfire, and Pharaoh-moods in the form of wolf. These wolf-like Pharaoh-moods love to play a game of battle royale. They have done it for centuries, and they grew so tired of the fighting that they decided to change the rules. Instead of fighting each other, they picked their own mortal champions to fight in their stead. Basically, they have created their own game of fate, just less complicated. All in all, the Siracusa of today is a delicious pasta with thorns grown on it. They have learned the finest aspect of other nations.
Man, music in Arknights doesn't
use of the legal
Wait, why do you have Originium slugs in your pasta, man? What the fuck?
Finest aspect of other nations.
This chapter is called pasta. Oh my god.
But
oh my god, the Litanian was really so
when the hands of the law are tied by an institution in ruins? What use does having faith in the church do if people keep dying when being killed? What reason is there to keep making pasta when the nation that praised chocolate pasta no longer exists?
The fucking
the
what?
Last one was a joke. They should keep cooking those pastas. Well, things weren't always like this.
What the fuck is a chocolate pasta?
Siracusa was a simple tribe. They and the Lithanian tribes had troubles dealing with their friendly neighbors. So to be able to defend themselves from their neighbors, they proposed to join forces with Lithanian tribes. Through a long negotiation process, Lithanian tribes decided to make the Syracusan tribe a part of their Reich, and thus Siracusa has become a part of Lithanian. Not just officially, but also bound by the 𝗔𝗟𝗟 𝙦𝙬𝙪. What Siracusa didn't expect was the social hierarchy they expected.
So I'm assuming this was before the Witch King, and then the Witch King was like, nah, actually fuck off, I think? Or did they got freed and then they went back?
Through the next century, they were treated like the backwater cousins, good enough to fight on the front line, but not good enough to get a seat at the cool kids table.
I see you, plus minus. I see you. I see you, cute and funny motherfucker. Hell yeah. I approve.
They were seen as sword-swinging barbarians. Even after picking up Lithanian instruments and fine-tuning their artistic taste, they never quite shocked that whole primitive stereotype, basically second-class citizens. Dissatisfaction grew stronger over the years, and eventually, the people of the Siracusa Kreis started protesting. They wanted to become independent. This, of course, was not taken lightly by the other Kreise, and they sent their forces to quench the unrest, which actually made it worse. Eventually, the protests spread around the entire Kreis of Siracusa and evolved into a civil war. It was said that Siracusa Kreis has passed the point of no return. If it were not for the Witch King rewriting the 𝗔𝗟𝗪 𝙦𝙬𝙪 and officially declaring the independence of Siracusa. And then, Siracusa was free.
So they were basically too much of a trouble to like bother with, and bro was like, ah, fuck it, it's like not war, the civil war, get the fuck out. Something like that, I guess.
From the shackles of their previous masters, finally they could govern for themselves. They have learned the best aspect of Lithanian, the appreciation for music and art. So in the following decades, Siracusa prospered under their new jurisdiction.
Hell yeah.
Nah, just kidding. In the capital, someone decided to practice terrorism by blowing up the entire building, killing every governing head present, leaving Siracusa as a nation without its government. And you know when that happened? Literally 2 days after the declaration of their independence. And then, total anarchy.
Oh my fucking
Siracusa was
god.
split into multiple mafia families who treated the nation like a giant monopoly board.
What the fuck?
Only instead of buying real estate, they blew those up and annexed entire cities.
Lappland.
I mean, why bother building a government when you can just
I definitely remember your name.
Run the show? This whole
Oh,
bombing
her
and
name was
killing
like
each other
long and
lasted,
weird,
wait
right?
for it, it lasted 70 years. 70
Oh.
years of constant backstabbing,
What the
gang
fuck?
wars, and all sorts of violent
Okay,
activities
like,
that
figure
resulted
your
in
shit
the
out,
suffering
actually.
of the common folk. Most people were forced to join one of the mafia gangs to gain protection and to somewhat live a normal life. Well, for Syracusans, normal was something else. Back in the days, as long as you didn't get shot on the street, anything can be considered normal.
Hell
That is
yeah.
until Signora Cecilia stepped in. Signora Cecilia was like, alright, this whole
Ooh,
burn everything to the
he's
ground
cute.
thing is getting a bit old. How about we, stop killing each other for a change? Having finished her studies abroad in Laterano, because when the mafia is running your country, naturally you go study at Terra's Vatican for the holy experience. Cecilia
okay.
came back and decided to play peacemaker. How?
Yeah.
Well, she introduced a new system called Pistole e Ordine, guns and order. Sounds cozy, right? Cecilia didn't just
Beautiful.
convince the mafia to stop shooting each other every 5 minutes. She established a semi-functional government. She even used the power of religion to help unite them. Like, if Jesus says we should stop murdering each other, then who are we to argue? Of course,
What
if you
the
didn't
fuck?
listen, she could still make you disappear in about 5 seconds. After 70 years
Awesome.
of constant anarchy, Siracusa finally
I have the power of God and anime pistol on my side.
started to have some resemblance of peace. Sure, it's a fragile peace held together by bribes, shady deals, and occasional assassinations. But hey, we're just here for the past abilities, and for the next
Oh
60
my
years,
fucking god,
things
stop!
have been stable, especially now
Stop.
that you have got the Confederate Council and
I'm gonna
Supreme
throw
Court,
brain rot at
although
you.
both are basically
if you don't
just
stop
puppets
with the
for
dad jokes.
Cecilia's mafia-backed regime. So technically, even a gavel strike can end a life. But hey, at least they pretend to care about civilian safety now. Of course, not every faction inside Siracusa is satisfied with this peaceful system. New generations
I need to learn more about her, cause it's such an interesting story, and like I feel like I know it like from your guys' comments, but like not really. And I need to re-listen to the EP because that's like third EP that I listened to or something, and I obviously didn't know shit. And I was like, I don't know about this one. And now when I listen to I listened to it like kind of when I did the like on my own when I did the Siracusa reactions, like Porte dei Lupi, Ulmster, I think that's the same thing, ambiguous morality and stuff like that. I listened to this one to Sentenced on my own as well, and I was like, wait, I kinda like it now. And I'm like, what really changed, between me, like, I don't know, 6 months ago versus now. Oh my god, that's way longer than 6 months. What the fuck? Time is flying like crazy.
Every faction inside Siracusa is satisfied with this peaceful system. New generations who think maybe the mafia shouldn't run everything, or maybe we should build a society where people don't get shot on broad daylight. What
There
radicals,
are actually
am I
dogs
right?
on my screen.
The
What the
Cecilia
fuck?
family eventually expanded its own business all across Terra, primarily in Colombia, because the smuggling was making them a ton of cash. Well, until the Colombian government took the matter a bit more seriously. The most prominent mafia clan, the Texas family, got wiped out due to being too unruly there.
Oh.
And that is when most of the Syracusan families returned back to their homeland. And
Interesting.
that is pretty much where we are now. So would I recommend a visit to Siracusa? Absolutely, because the food is simply to die for.
Oh
Our
my
next stop
god.
is a pretty cold place, and it will take a
die
bit
for.
until we arrive there. So in the meantime, why don't we have a little history lesson about a nation from the past, introducing the Gaulish Empire. If you ever look up
Cool.
Gaulish people in a search engine, you might have seen obscure results, such as
So
why are
gay.
Gaulish people so gay, so cringe, or so full of themselves,
What?
or bad at Victorian tongue. Don't be
What the
fooled by these
fuck?
misinformations. Haters don't want you to know, but Gaul used to be the superpower on Terra.
What the
Back
fuck?
in the days, it was the nation of the Liberis, bird people. Gaul was known for their cultural influence and overwhelming military strength. Gaul was also the only nation in the Terran heartland that was able to withstand the Nightmoran invasion.
Oh shit.
And they kept expanding their borders by annexing neighboring city-states. They were the undisputed ruling nation, which was also why all the other neighbors even adopted their tongue. Basically, everyone spoke French. I know, right? Hellish time for those neighbors.
That's
worse
fucked up.
than catastrophe and suffering from oropathy.
That's
Gaul's
crazy.
most important feat was achieved at the height of the Gallic era. Yes, the era was literally named after their nation. They put Lingones, their capital city, on a ginormous mobile plate, which was powered by originium, and thus the first nomadic.
Can you hear that? I don't like it. Why are there like some fucking fast as fuck planes flying here? Ursus, I was joking about the war. Calm the fuck down. Holy shit.
Enormous mobile plate, which was powered by originium, and thus the first nomadic city was born. It was the beginning of a new era for the Terran civilization. Other nations were elated by this revelation, and thus Lingones was coined capital of Terra.
Capital
This
of
sparked
Terra?
the renaissance of
What
Gaulish
the
art,
fuck?
economic growth, and last but not least, their territorial expansion. However, Gaul's aggressive expansionism ultimately led to its own downfall under Emperor 𝗔𝗟𝗪 I. Oh, sorry, I read it wrong. His name is Corsica I, not Croissant. Anyway, he realized that after all these years of steady growth and expansionism, the nation has reached an all-time high. This all sounds pretty good for everyone. However, he and the head of the state were able to foresee a slow but inevitable decline of Gaulish influence. Due to the growing resentment and steady development of other superpowers, Ursus is aggressively expanding its territory and was about to start its 10th campaign on Casimir's. Victoria has started a cool trend by claiming unfathomable amount of
What is that armor? What the fuck? Why do you have chains on your face? What the heck is that?
land. Other nations felt the FOMO and followed suit. You might know it under the name of colonialism. One of Victoria's
that's the other Victoria EP.
Simply because of its rich originium sources and
the more
rare occurrence of catastrophes. And Iberia was experiencing its golden age with their advanced fleet and new technology from the ocean. And this was the position Gaul was in the middle of, so they cooked a strategy. First, they made sure their biggest rival would think twice before invading Gaul by supporting the independence of Columbia, which made Victoria very furious, and they tried everything in their power to prevent the independence. Ultimately, Victoria failed to prevent the independence of Columbia. Iberia does not pose any real threat.
Right, like this weird thing is the fucking president of Colombia or something, right? Jesus Christ.
Failed to prevent the independence of Colombia. Iberia does not pose any real threat to Gaul, since they are more into exploring the ocean and bullying Victoria at naval
Golden Age.
Like they say, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Ursus at that time had their hands full dealing with Casimir's.
No, fuck you.
Gaul planned out their next step to
do not send another plane.
They needed to unify their people, and to do so, they needed a common enemy. A nation no one would help if being invaded. They took Lithanian on their side and sent out envoys to give outrageous requests, which resulted
speaking German and become our vassal state. That's
the envoys
insane.
Turning into statues. Now that we have discussed this historical part from the point of view of Gaul, I can say that it was all intended. They knew their proposal was bound to cause Lithanian to react aggressively, especially under the Witch King's rule. So that is when the Gallo-Lithanian War broke out. Gaul was absolutely sure that no other nation would assist Lithanian, until the Witch King participated in the war personally and showed Gaul what a real aura looked like. That is when the other two superpowers noticed the decline of Gaul. They acted accordingly and officially declared war on them. Both Victoria and Ursus joined forces to assist Lithanian. What can I say?
All the
what was supposed to be a one-sided, swift war
nations
turned into a world war that is known as the War of the Four Nations. Gaul lost the war in the end and paid the heaviest price by being disintegrated. Majority of the war spoils were being taken by the Ursus Empire. Victoria, on the other hand, took the vast land of Gaul as well as its capital, and from that day onward, Lingones was renamed to Londinium.
Oh my god.
This act made Victoria the new
Paris is New London now.
leading nation on Terra, and Gaul will forever be seen as a superpower from the past, their subject now spread across Terra, still trying to restore their once great nation. And we have arrived at our destination. Welcome to 𝗔𝗟𝗟. It is a nation that
I am so glad that every single person I watch and even the official materials say 𝗔𝗟𝗟 a different way. Straight up. 𝗔𝗟𝗟, 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 𝗔𝗟𝗟. Fucking.
And we have arrived at our destination. Welcome to 𝗔𝗟𝗟. It is a nation that was built by a pharaoh in the past, which is why the inhabitants of this place are pretty religious. After all, what better way to show your faith than naming your own country after the pharaoh itself? 𝗔𝗟𝗟, a place encircled by snowy mountains, mostly known for being an introverted nation that uphold their traditional customs even in this modern age. I do have great news. Recently 𝗔𝗟𝗟 has opened up. What was just a boring collection of tribes is becoming a new tourist destination. Even though 𝗔𝗟𝗟 has opened up for tourism, visiting them still feels like we are the tourist attraction and not the other way around. I guess we still need to break the ice. Also, this is probably the only snowy place that is suitable for a vacation. You ask me why? I don't know, maybe because the other snowy places has weird pitch black snow and unseen KGB units trying to kill you. In 𝗔𝗟𝗟, the only thing you need to be wary of is the cold environment that might pose some danger. Don't get yourself frozen, it would lead to slipping and falling into a hole. Trust me, this kind of thing occurs on a regular basis, even to locals. Anyway, overall 𝗔𝗟𝗟 is a very peaceful nation. You can tell that by looking through its history. Literally nothing happens for centuries on end. And they never bothered developing either.
What the
fuck? Would they, when this place is so peaceful and no other nation has any interest because it is so cold and isolated. This place really started to embrace the outside world after a shift of power. You see, 𝗔𝗟𝗟 is ruled by three clans: the Browntails, the Palaroaches, and the Silverashes. Both Browntails and Palaroaches are conservative, while the Silverashes are the only clan that has contact with the outside world. Fast forward a few centuries, you'd think 𝗔𝗟𝗟 would have enjoyed some peaceful isolations, right? Well, not quite. See, while the rest of the world was out there inventing things like industry, Olafur Silverash, the patriarch of the Silverashes, decided it was high time 𝗔𝗟𝗟 jumped on Silverash. The patriarch
Why are they all hot? What the fuck?
Of the Silverashes decided it was high time
also, why were there
jumped
two
on the modernization bandwagon. Why stay in the mountains making religious artifacts when you can build factories and railways? Especially the railways, they really needed to build a strong economy. Luckily, he had some connections to the Victorian Empire, which gave him the idea to model the whole country on Victorian business management. A classic foreign influence for better profits move. But the Browntails and the Palaroaches hated the idea. I mean, Olafur wanted railways to be built. Railways on this sacred land, on the holy land of 𝗔𝗟𝗟? They plotted an assassination on Olafur, and through a holy land of 𝗔𝗟𝗟, they plotted
we should poison Olafur.
An assassination.
Can't I split him in half?
On Olafur, and through a complicated political game, Olafur died in a train accident. How ironic. He always wanted.
Fucking what? Ain't no fucking way. I'm dead.
Gun? They plotted an assassination on Olafur, and through a complicated political game, Olafur died in a train accident. How ironic, he always wanted more of those. The two conservative factions pushed the blame to a family that was allied with the Silverashes and claimed that they betrayed them, and also ostracized the Silverash family from the
I don't remember the name,
system.
But I like his EP.
The death of their head was a punishment from 𝗔𝗟𝗟. If I were born in 𝗔𝗟𝗟, I'd actually believed in that shit. The whole incident made 𝗔𝗟𝗪 more isolated than before. That was until one man returned after studying abroad. Because that's what future leaders always do. They leave their nation in chaos behind to find enlightenment from the outside world,
that's
and
kind
bring
of
their
what
teachings
happens
back for salvation.
a lot
And
of
𝗔𝗟𝗪 returned from his internship in Victoria. He pushed modernization and foreign trade.
I receive nothing, trust me bro, you receive modernization and foreign training, 𝗔𝗟𝗪. Trust me bro, I receive nothing except the rulership of this country.
He even had the balls to mine near Mount Carlin. It is considered one of the most sacred places in 𝗔𝗟𝗪. Naturally, the conservatives were not thrilled. Tensions boiled over when the great elder of the Weinbear court was poisoned, and both sides prepared for civil war. But before blood could be spilled, amiya, the saintess, descended from Mount Carlin and created a miracle which halted the fighting. In the end, the clans unified under her rule, with the silverashes securing their victory, while 𝗔𝗟𝗪 publicly spun the whole affair as a peaceful resolution. I know all of this sounds very coincidental and unexplained, not to mention the perfect timing of amiya turning the tide and preventing a full-scale civil war. Well, it was all thanks to their Farenmood goddess 𝗔𝗟𝗪, who actually never left 𝗔𝗟𝗪. Ever since she disappeared, she has been on incognito mode, observing while working as a part-time housemaid in the high priest's palace. And
Yo, why you got kind of fucking sexy? why is she looking like that? Why is she looking at me like that? What the fuck?
And with new people coming into power, there will be new agendas, and one of those agendas is to build a weapon factory establishing trade with foreign nations, so that 𝗔𝗟𝗪 can finally
the cutout of the weapon factory
is to build a weapon factory establishing trade with foreign nations, so that 𝗔𝗟𝗪 can finally participate in the global economy. They started importing tons of metals and other resources from their friendly neighbor, Victoria.
Very friendly.
Throughout this journey, I have mentioned the nation Victoria a handful of times already, and now it is time to finally have a proper introduction. Mostly populated by felines with a strong British accent, check. Known for their past colonialism that influenced countless other nations,
we are in reverse
check.
1999
was once
now.
the world-dominating superpower on Terra, check. Is now on decline because of its complex political altercations, which is killing the nation from the inside,
check.
My dear visitor, welcome to the...
That was so specific that is so real to today's Britain, it's actually crazy.
Victorian Empire, the carbon copy of today's United Kingdom, but
Straight
with
up.
more inequality, competitive racism against the infected, game-changing colonialism, offensive place names. Last but not least, a big gap between game-changing colonialism, offensive
this place names in Victoria. Twat, Broken Wind, Muff, Wet Wang, Cock Alley, Bitchfield. Next time I play Endfield, I'm gonna name the stream Bitchfield. Horsewood, Pitchfield. Shitterton. Sandy Bottom. Are those actually places in the UK? There is no fucking way there is a Cock Alley and a Bitchfield. I can believe there is a place called Twat. Is there a Bitchfield? I need to know. Oh my fucking god, Bitchfield exists. Bitchfield exists. IRL. Bitchfield is a real place in Lincolnshire, UK. What the fuck? Okay, let's continue, I guess.
Place names. Last but not least, a big gap between the common folk and the nobles. Victoria stands as one of the nations with the most profoundly impactful history, a legacy so vast and far-reaching that one would be hardly pressed to find any other nation with such cultural influence, military might, or dare I say, sheer bloody-mindedness. So, let's commence forth on this marvelous journey through its splendid historical importance.
Let's go.
Pardon for my Victorian tongue. Before Victoria became an empire, there was this fertile region devoid from dangerous beasts and catastrophes. One day, a tribe of ancient Dracos discovered this place and saw the potential of it. they decided to call this place their new home. Over the next few decades, other nomadic tribes and settlers joined their party. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't a real nation at that time yet. It was more like a big campsite village run by the Dracos, who were still doing nomadic things.
Okay.
This kind of semi-nomadic lifestyle didn't last long
this one gives
until
me the
it became
vibe a little bit.
So the people wanted a change, which resulted in a dispute of different lifestyles. There were two Draco houses representing the two opposing lifestyles. One of them wanted to follow the trend of monarchy with a clear social hierarchy and imperial rules. Back in that era, it was a trend for nations to be established like that, because Sargon, the superpower at that time, was structured with a monarchy ruling over its common folk. You know, the old time when slavery and peasants working for the nobles was trendy. On the other hand, the opposing Draco house wanted to keep their nomadic lifestyle. Now, this could have gone the usual route of bash each other with rocks until one's leader dies a brutal death. Surprisingly, the Dracos decided to split in peace. The monarchists took a nice fertile valley and said, hey, we are a kingdom now, let's call it Victoria, while the conservatives kept their nomadic lifestyle and wandered through the land until they found a region fit to settle, which will be named Terra by the future generations. Both houses lived peacefully for a few decades until the
Well, I do not know the name Terra, so I can only imagine how it's gonna end.
Entered the Common Era. Remember the Kargan and his boys? That's right, they also decided to invade the two Victorian kingdoms to fulfill their coming-of-age practice. And like any other overambitious big brother, Victoria decided that protecting Terra was in both houses' best interest, but it really meant annexing Terra. The official record, written in flowery Victorian handwriting, claimed it was all like a tea party. But actually, Terra was taken over by force. Of course, this did not suit the Draco House of Terra, so take a guess what Victoria's solution was. Force Terra's ruling family to bend their knees, but keep their fancy titles. Because, you know, paperwork is hard. The King of Terra got renamed and was told to be happy with his nobility. I'm sure that went over really well. But hey,
definitely.
Now Victoria
and there
is
will be no civil war.
All this bloodshed and sacrifice, so it was all worth it. There is no way it would turn into a future conflict from the inside, and for the next few centuries, the Victorian Empire was ruled by the Draco houses peacefully. However, all of this changed when the House of Cards in Sargon fell, which triggered a massive purge on their ruling race, the Aslan. Not a single family member was spared, even distant relatives were targeted. One noble family of the Aslan house managed to flee from Sargon and requested the Victorian royal house for shelter. And as we have established, the monarchy system of Victoria was a carbon copy from Sargon.
Technically, originally?
So, in a way, the Draco house were admirers of the Sargon Empire. With open arms, they welcomed the Aslan family into their royal house.
You may guess,
as permanent guests. I mean, what could they do to harm the Victorian Empire, right? They're just a bunch of glorified felines who lost their entire livelihood and most of their family members at home. They are just the nice guests at the dinner table. They wouldn't take over the throne, right? Over the next few years, the Aslans became extremely popular among the Victorian common folk because the Aslans were a family of chads. They treated people with respect and helped the poor. In other words, foreign deeds for the Draco house, and with the people on the Aslan's side.
Is that her?
Or, in other words, foreign deeds for
Fuck, is that Elbana? Is that Elbana? The Final Embrace or something like that, EP? Is that her? She reminds me a ton of her, but at the same time, not really?
For the Draco house, and with the people on the Aslan's side, they started a palace coup against the Victorian Dracos, which succeeded without much resistance. The Terra house, on the other hand, decided to resist, but ultimately signed a double monarchy rule agreement with the Aslan house. And from that day onward, both the Draco house and the Aslan house ruled Victoria together peacefully. That is, if we can count out all the political power games and conspiracies constantly happening in the background.
Don't kick the baby.
The Aslans brought an age of peace and prosperity, and everything developed during that period. The Victorians were the first to establish the wide usage of originium crystal, starting the Industrial Revolution of the crystallization age. They quadrupled their factory production, created an abundance of jobs, school-educated the masses, and they built railways for faster transportation throughout the nation. They were finally able to travel through all the places with ridiculous names: Twat, Dick Place, Cockmouth, Penistone, Shitterton, County Hillcock. Oh hey, look, that's Londinium. It was like Victoria was just figuring out how to turn their people into more efficient cogs in a massive economic machine. That good old 19th century industrial charm where everyone's a child laborer and your lungs are slowly turning into soot. But on Terra, people just got infected and got auropathy, which was definitely not the best way to live in Victoria, but hey, they had prosperity.
And
this era was called the Victorian era. Thanks to all the industrialization, Victoria has slowly become one of the superpower that even nations like Gaul had to consider a serious rival. Classic French versus England lore. And that is when Victoria invented something out of the ordinary. They called it colonialism. It is when you claim a foreign land yours and start exploiting its resources, often in the name of Victoria or the betterment of uncivilized people, even if the locals didn't ask for it. I mean, what are they gonna do about it, right? Victoria got big cannons, endless supply of army, and tea. And I haven't even mentioned the steam knights. Imagine an originium powered cattle that can shoot out missiles and has one of the strongest physical attacks known to man, condensed into a thick power armor. Now imagine it being piloted by the most patriotic soldier. That is what one steam knight is made of. They are tasked to take orders directly from the parliament's aristocrats to protect the king and the country. These heavily armored fellows
and there is no Queen of England.
Look pretty big, but do not confuse mass with imprecision and sluggishness. Steam knights have extremely high reactions and accuracy in hitting their targets. Combined with their thick and heavy armor, they are pretty much unstoppable once they have locked in. But it doesn't stop there. These steam knights can also leap into the air and perform a freaking Gundam attack. Throughout history, the steam knights have been proven to be Victoria's strongest military assets. Their war efforts have been engraved into legends and folk tales. Fast forward a few decades, colonies of Victoria could be found everywhere. If a plot of land can hold a boot, then it should belong to Victoria, was a famous Victorian saying from that period of time. And as you might have guessed, the colonists weren't seen as equal to Victoria. The constant mistreatment over the years made the biggest colony, Columbia, revolt against its own master. Victoria took the matters extremely seriously and sent their fleet to stop the civil unrest. Funny enough, the independence movement was in the interest of Gaul, so they sent Columbia direct military aid and turned the simple civil unrest into an actual full-scale war. Thanks to Columbia's smart strategy and Gaul's
oh my god, France and Britain made the USA. What the fuck?
direct support, Columbia was able to win the war and declare its
that weird bird
Victoria
thing?
had to accept it because of its own affairs it had to deal with at home. Imagine losing to your own colony only because of foreign interference. The Victorian royal house was furious about this matter, but right after the Columbian Declaration of Independence, Rimbilliton also jumped out of the line and declared their independence, which Victoria also failed to suppress. And to make matters worse, Victoria just lost a major naval war against Iberia, losing a large portion of their warships. However, despite all of this, it did not deter Victoria from wanting to become the world-dominating empire. Despite all the previous loss, the Victorian Empire kept inserting their geopolitical might to gain influence. They basically bullied smaller nations, mostly in the name of peace and security, like leading the Grand Crusade against
Wait. Since when do I not have the subs? I didn't even see that. I mean, it's not like I understand what's happening, but I had them for the whole video and suddenly they are gone. Did I turn them off?
Simply by declaring them as the biggest threat of all Terran inhabitants.
Oh. Xenophobia based on the original battlefield Sutton. What the fuck? Loading xenophobia.
Let's be xenophobic. It's really in this year. Let's find the nasty Sarkas tribe, those infected hard to fear. There's no more fiendish neighbors since the Steam Knights came to call. Let's learn to love our empire by purging one and all. We know we ought to hate them. They're different, you see. We've read of all their sins in history and decree. The folks that fought in Castell told us how it's got to be. The gospel truth was forged in wars that we declare as free. Let's wipe out their last stronghold. They're better off oppressed. We'll serve them up a genocide they never will forget. The first catastrophe proved that they're Victoria. So it is our duty to take them down, destroy the plot. You see, Sarkas can never be as good as felines.
Oh my god,
we're noble and industrious,
still
the
going.
on Terra sphere. So step aside, Sarkas.
Oh my god,
we're ready for your worst. We know you try to raid us, enslave us, or
Sarcasm is homeless.
Or slaughter us and invade us unless we crush you first.
Fucking hell.
For the following years, Victoria
Bloody
only picked
hell.
small bones because of the previous major losses they tanked. It was only during the Gaul-Lithanian War that they noticed the decline of Gaul. To take political revenge on Gaul, they allied themselves with Ursus and Lithanian. As we know, the war resulted in an absolute victory and the end of Gaul. You helped my colony rebel? I'm gonna fuck your whole country from behind. Victoria took over the majority of Gaul's fertile land and officially claimed to be the new dominant nation, leading to a new era of peace and prosperity for the next few decades. But this era of prosperity didn't last long. A slow decline was happening in the background. While the royal house burned cash like coal, the wars were dragging on. Spoils were not split evenly. The rich were getting richer and the poor were getting poorer. The situation came to a peak when their king tried to raise the tax for the aristocrats. The aristocrats responded by losing their collective minds. They didn't just refuse, they decided to whip up a popular uprising. That's right, the rich folks got the peasants to overthrow the king. He was promptly executed, publicly hanged in his own royal garden. Don't ask me how. The aristocrats summoned an Uno reverse card on their majesty and made the people of Victoria think he was the reason why their nation is on the decline. And with the king gone, the 8 dukes, Victoria's regional governors, gathered inside Londinium, you know, to fill the power vacuum. In other words, to take over Victoria for themselves. And if you think this was already dirty enough, get ready for what they did next. These dukes passed some new laws, making sure that no other noble could waltz into Londinium without special permission. It was a power move, plain and simple. They wanted to make sure that no one else could challenge their grip on the empire.
I'm sorry, I'm listening, but holy fuck the music.
Thing. As we all know, bad leaders create bad times, and bad times create dangerous political agendas. Remember the Tarrants? The ones forcefully assimilated into Victoria Kingdom centuries ago and then were never treated equally? Yeah, they remember too. These Terra nationalists, or pro-Draco monarchists if you prefer, are still clinging to that dream of independence like it is their last shred of dignity, and they have been preparing for revolt for a very, very long time. The moment anyone from Victoria tries to tell them otherwise, it is pretty much Victorian detected, opinion rejected. Expect them to throw a ton of stones at Victorian soldiers too. They absolutely hate being suppressed by Victoria and have had just about enough of being treated like second-class citizens.
Priestess Calcit like British person, what the fuck?
Actually, that is still not the worst thing. Yep, it gets even worse. One of the dukes tried to take over the parliament in Londinium. This act made the other dukes anxious, so they came up with a brilliant solution. Instead of working together to prevent the success of the coup, they hired external mercenaries. Let me tell you, the gun they hired were not small. It was big guns, the Castellian Military Commission to be exact. These Castell mercs were hired to restore order in Londinium.
The Castell
You heard that right. They hired Castell mercenaries, the same Castell whose homeland Victoria torn apart in the past. This is like hiring the guy you just beat to the ground to help you clean up your own house. Surely nothing could go wrong, right? I mean, hey, the Castell Military Commission did wipe out the rebels. They just went a step further.
Was that at the time of Babel? Oh hell nah. Oh hell nah. Wait, Victoria was involved?
By stabbing the dukes who hired them in the back and taking over Londinium for themselves.
Never mind.
They then threw quite a big party because they brought a lot of Sarkas tribes along the way. And while they had the Victorian factories and technologies with them, they built one of the most terrifying weapons Terra has ever seen. The Shard, not to be confused with the real Shard in London. This one is an airship capable of creating artificial catastrophes from a safe distance. And with that, we are back in the present. The Victoria of today, a nation with rich history, but is now only a shadow of its former glory. They have lost pretty much everything. The belief of their citizens have been trampled for years by the dukes and merchants. Now that the king is gone, the nobles are no longer unified under one ideology. Of course, it was never really unified in the first place, but ever since the Londinium crisis, this problem has been out of control. Their feared military has become a myth and legend because they themselves abandoned their most powerful allies. So no one came to save during such a crisis. Now it is a nation that can't run its own capital city and doesn't even have a leader. Now I know what you are dying to ask. Is Victoria still worth visiting? Well, let's consider the facts. If you want to take a nice stroll down the street in Londinium, let me warn you, these streets might not be safe. You might end up meeting a Terran loyalist. To avoid being questioned about your political stance, you have to be dressed like a Terran. Then again, the likelihood to meet a Victorian patriot is also pretty high. In that case, expect a nice beating from them. But wait, what if you dressed like you support Victoria? Then you will get knifed by Terra nationalists from every direction. You might just stay inside, but then you will get kidnapped by the sarcas, and they will send you to their forced labor camp. Not because they are racist or anything. Oh wait, never mind, they are kinda racist. Let's not just talk about the people. Let's also take a glance at the architecture of the city. Don't forget that Londinium is Terra's oldest nomadic city. In other words, the city is of huge historical significance with a lot of old buildings. Some of
Okay, but like, so what the fuck? So is Londinium just taken over by the Sarkas? Doesn't make any goddamn fucking sense. And also they have the like democratic whatever people, aristocrats to run the country, right? And also what about Vina Victoria? What about Siege? Didn't she like take over? I am confusion.
Those buildings and pillars are a little bit
or maybe this
too
video was made before
so
that.
Don't try to push those, you might accidentally kill some innocent felines.
Or
and
maybe
how
no
could
spoilers.
I forget the constant artillery bombardments? Those gigantic cannons on Londinium's thick and impenetrable wall are perfectly positioned
is
facing
Victoria
inwards.
thick?
Yeah, that's because the Castilian mercs took over those, and they have been firing bombshells after bombshells to get rid of the internal conflicts. They don't even care if their own people fall victim to these attacks. And if you were hoping for some peace and quiet outside of the capital, I got some bad news for you. The reed fields out there look pretty, right? You better tell that to the Terra nationalists. So, all facts considered, you should probably not visit Victoria at this current stage. We sadly missed its peak when it was still cool to take a visit and study there. With that being said, we have traveled through half of Terra, and I gotta say, this has been quite a journey so far.
Ain't no way this is actually half, this is part 1.
Exploring the history of so many nations, from the militaristic might of Ursus to the isolated but peaceful 𝗔𝗟𝗟, from the corporate-driven technocratic Casimirs to the classical music enthusiastic Lithanian, and the once mighty but now fractured Victoria. Each place we visited offers a unique blend of triumphs and tragedies, reflecting the ups and downs of their history.
I just wanna say on the unique blend of triumphs and tragedies, a lot of the nations were kind of the same, that they were established and they were ruling and there was the golden age and then the rulers fucked up and then they get overthrown by their people and killed, and then there is a new government that is not better at all than the previous one. And it's like this fucking cycle, but I guess that's what happens in real history as well, right? So like, of course, everything was unique in the sense that it wasn't like the same story every time, and it was very, very different each time. But still, that shit like kind of happened, you know. It happened in Kazimierz, it happened in Ursus, it happened in Victoria, it happened in Lithuania, whatever, everywhere. I mean, technically, you can say in Yan as well with the gods. It's just fucking civil war after civil war after civil war, and then they were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't fight each other, we should fight the others, and then it's colonialism, and then it's colonialism, and then it's colonialism, and then we are too big, and too many cultures are in one country, so it's a civil war again. And it's just this fucking cycle, like straight up.
There's a unique blend of triumphs and tragedies, reflecting the ups and downs of their history. However, as we have traveled through all these places, I think it was evident that the shadows often overshadow the light. Casimir's radiant glow of modernism blinding us from looking through its dark facade, just like Lungmen's cultural vibrancy being displayed in front of its city underbelly. The bad often lurks just beneath the surface. The exploitation of the infected in Rimbilliton reveals a grim reality of commodification and expendability of the workforce, while Ursus with its brutal military expansion highlights a history steeped in expansionism and power. The lavish lifestyle of nobles has always been a stark contrast with the peasants all across Terra.
Oh yeah, that too.
And in all of these exploitations, it is always the same groups of people who get victimized, the infected and the common folk. Now, I know it all sounds doom and gloom, so why would anyone even want to get into the lore? Well, I think I'm not speaking only for myself when I say I'm kind of a masochist. Oh wait, I am?
Am I?
Okay, anyway. Amidst this bleak world lies a certain fascination.
I mean, I do like darker
stories. I think the
stories.
lore of Arknights is, in a way, resonating with us. It makes us want to delve even further into its narrative of suffering, tragedy and redemption, whether through the epic tales of entire nations or the intimate struggle of individual character. The emotional depth of this world captivates us. Maybe it is this complexity that kept us delving deeper.
It's the hope, as it was said by, I think the first content creator that I saw say that was Arknight, was it? I think. It's crazy that this is a story of hope, even though everything is fucked up. There is still tomorrow.
Or maybe it is because of its blend of despair and resistance that reflects our own experience. I think it goes without saying that a lot of Terra's history has similarities with our world.
Yeah, it does.
Man, when lore writers start copying from each other, the infected, just like any other minority groups in our society, endure systematic injustice. Their difficulties often overlooked in favor of those in power and rich. The history of Terra is littered with examples of nobility evading crimes, where the infected and poor suffered under it. And this really makes one think. It really confronts one with the uncomfortable truth about our reality. The struggles of the weak are often ignored in the face of the powerful. Well, we reap what we sow. A reminder that the consequences of our actions shape the world around us. Despite the widespread suffering, we challenge ourselves to resist our own satisfaction and gain. Does our hope have to be sown upon somebody's sorrow? We have a choice: to confront the monsters we have created, or to become passive observers in a world that feels like hell on earth. And with that being said, I truly wish people can come together to achieve bigger things, because the only people benefiting from conflict are those who sit at the top. If the people on Terra cannot unite as one, then there is no hope in resolving the inevitable apocalypse, which will be the second half of our journey. We will be taking a stroll into the deep, looking at a threat that might flood the entirety of Terra, a looming threat from the north that even the knowledge of it can pose danger. Of course, we will also visit the most advanced nation on Terra, and at last, we will gaze upon the stars. This has been the first part of Arknights ALL Nations Explored, and I will see you in the next one.
Thanks. God damn.
Looking at
That's crazy. That's actually insane. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and for recommending this video. It was amazing. It was insanely well done. It was very informative and entertaining at the same time, with like jokes and callbacks and foreshadowings and everything. It was really good, and all the like goofy simple but effective animations and everything. Absolutely awesome work. I have no idea how long I've been recording because I paused like 2 times. I obviously cut those pauses out, right? So I have no idea how long this video is gonna be. I'm assuming 2-3 hours with all my talking. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want me to do, what is the part 2? Is there a part 2? Was it released? 100 likes and I'm doing part 2, and let me know what it's called. Is it also just so you want to visit Terra? And again, the link to the original is in the description. Go check it out, support plus minus. Absolutely awesome work. Thank you so much. Sorry again that there wasn't too much Arknights content in the past 2 weeks. And I'll see you in another video, another live stream. I do have to finish endfield 1.2 and we have to do some more Arknights stuff as well. OG. Heck yeah. Thank you so much. See you later. Subscribe and bye bye. Shout out to the members Karma, Venika, Cryodelta, Sinpai, Fallen King, Demister Has, Memegumin, Kun, Unholy Quack, Amane Echo, Gabor Mester, JK /JK, Izekrin, Mendiganina, Unwritten Ift, Nemu, Lorkana, Yorha. Thank you so much for the extra support.